it's so deep. Don't, how how do I say, the evil spirits, how they're surrounding us, how we have this different, it's crazy. It's so deep. It's so deep, literally. For me, I can just say it literally through my mind. I can't even explain it. That's all. But so far, so good. But let me start with this video right here, talking about literally something affecting some of our African people. And this takes us a little bit back into history. Kid doesn't like this guy, but I'm going to share his video anyway. Okay, because we get information from other people too, and that's how we get to learn. So these are African people who are actually being told to walk away from their indigenous land, which already has been snatched away from them, but still they're being chased out of it. And it just takes us back to still basically what we're talking about, or understanding the creation of white people and why they behave how they behave, lacking consciousness, lacking even the what was it that we were learning the other time, the inside voice, literally, and all that. Something to just tell them like, yo, stop, this is wrong. It's crazy. It's up.
Authorities in the Comoros Island on Monday have said they've refused to allow a boat carrying migrants from the French overseas territory of Mayotte to dock. The move is in response to the recent announcement from authorities in Mayotte that they would launch Operation Wambushu, which means take back, in order to remove illegal migrants who have settled in slums on the island.
What's up, everybody? I hope you're all doing good. Today is a beautiful day, and I'm happy to be here with you again once more. So today we're talking about Comoros and Mayotte. For those of you who don't know, we're going to watch very quickly a quick explanation to what's happening in Mayotte and Comoros. Basically, they're going through some very difficult time. A lot of African nationals, a lot of, let's say, Comorians that go to Mayotte under arrest and being sent back to Comoros. Let's watch.
It is situated between northwestern Madagascar and northeastern Mozambique in the northern Mozambique Channel in the Indian Ocean, off the coast of Southeast Africa. Grande Terre, also known as Maure, is the largest island in Mayotte. Petite Terre, also known as Pamanzi, is a smaller island that surrounds the two main islands. The Mozambique Channel's most rich territory, Mayotte, serves as a significant entry point for illegal immigrants. Mayotte shares the same status as the departments of metropolitan France as one of France's 18 regions and one of its offshore departments. It is the most remote area of the European Union, and as a department of France located abroad, it is a member of the Eurozone.
Thousands of people marched on Thursday in Moroni protesting that the neighboring French island of Mayotte is part of Comoros. Earlier in March, the Indian Ocean island, which is an overseas
French... This happened last year. I think I kind of remember me or someone, probably Katie, I'm not sure. Someone reported this. I remember sharing this. Yes, karibu sana Kit. You're breaking. Thinking about area.
Might be in a bad area. How long you been alive?
12 minutes.
Okay.
Social protest.
Yeah, I'm sharing this video here of where we have Mayan people. Literally, it takes us back to a little bit of history of how France took over this particular island, and they're now trying to chase the indigenous people out of it, which is part of Comoros. And people have been demonstrating about it, and it's just crazy of, regarding what we're talking about as we combine it, literally, how white people dominate and take everything, or want to take everything away from African people.
By its residents against insecurity and immigration from Comoros. French authorities expelled undocumented Comorians.
That was quick. Hey, Williams, have a good day too. That was super quick, 15 minutes, but have a good day too.
Out of Mayotte, but Comoros retaliated by refusing to accept back the expelled citizens, insisting that Mayotte is its own sovereign territory. She says, I am confident that Mayotte will return to its natural land one day like today.
So we see clearly that Comoros and Mayotte are literally the same people that were separated after colonialism and independence. And story tell us that the reason why they were separated were not necessarily legal. They say Mayotte people voted to be part of France. That's what they say officially. The truth is the vote was supposed to be not island by island, but global. So globally, they all voted for independence. Island by island was different. France, as per se, grabbed into that opportunity to keep Mayotte within its frame so they can continue the colonization. You know how they always do, how they roll with these things. Now, what breaks my heart is to see African national from one side of the world, one side of Africa, moving to another side, which is their own side, being persecuted by French nationals. Now, if you look at these people, they say Mayotte is part of France. Officially, France has sent military to go and fight delinquents and immigrants, okay?
Always starting war for no, they always start in war. Man, this is just so crazy and so heartbreaking. Just invading people's lands, and now you just want to claim, and now you're sending people with guns to just kill innocent people who have done nothing to you but just demanded the right to sit in their houses.
They have done something to us. The land has money, and I'm white, and I want it. That's what
This
it's
is
about.
so heartbreaking. Look at this, man. This is just so crazy.
No, that's the behavior. And you still, a lot of Africans ain't still ain't learned that these people are your enemy. Still ain't learned that. Everywhere they go, death and
Now, look at these
destruction,
French
domination.
people that say Mayotte is part of France and compare them to people from Mayotte. Do they look different? Do they look different? Of course, they look different. Now, look at France, the way France is. Look at the city. Look at the people. Look at the trend of life. Now, look at Mayotte. That's supposedly France. Does it look the same? No, it doesn't. Why? Independence was a long time ago. Why hasn't these islands progressed? Why haven't they moved forward? Why seemingly they're all living in poverty and difficulties?
Because white people
While
keep them in
France on the
poverty.
other side in Europe lives beautifully eating cheese and milk and cakes and all that French cuisine. None of that is available in Mayotte.
Because all the resources come out of their colonies. That's how the white people stole the world and then call you poor as they steal everything and brought everything back to Europe for them to be rich. That's why.
In the meantime, they still want to keep their hand on Mayotte. I think it makes just sense now to understand what type of world we live in. In 1975, in the United Nations, they asked France to liberate Mayotte, to let it go, let it be united with their brothers, with Comoros, with all other countries, all other islands, to stay together like they were created together. They refused to do it. So, in defiance to the United Nations, they refused to do it. What can we say about that? Just imagine another country refusing to implement what the United Nations says. An African country, what's going to happen? They're going to send a raid of militaries and soldiers and airplanes to bombard and free that country. Same as what happened in Gaddafi and Iraq and many other places, right? So why isn't anything happened to France since the United Nations said openly they should let these people be together?
Because the United Nations is created for the will of white people. Stupid. That's why. Not created for anybody around the world. That's why it was only white people on the Security Council. No one else. You know, France is really poor ass country without any damn colonies. Why is France on the Security Council? You have Russia, China, America, Britain, and France. Why is Britain and France there? Britain and France are poor. Why are they there? You ain't got Germany. Germany was the damn power of Europe, not England or France. And Germany ain't on the Security Council, but these poor white countries who stole everybody's wealth is England and France.
Is colonialism really over? Is it really finished? Are we living in another era of neo-colonialism where it's pushed down our throats, it's forced up onto us to accept or to die? Please give us an explanation.
Yeah, that is what is happening literally.
We take note of the closure of the port of Anjouan by the Comoran authorities for work. I regret that this morning we had a boat that was able to leave with.
You're going to have to fight African people on that island. You're going to have to wipe these people out. Okay, that's what I'm about to tell you. Sorry. The cowardice and jumping around doing protests, that don't work. You're going to have to go to war, real war. Okay, people are not going to leave because they got rich off of you. These white people are parasites. That's what they are. They're parasitical. Okay. This the dirty little secret known to your groupie leaders want to tell you. They didn't get your island by being nice. They came and stole it. You're going to have to steal it back. That's the short answer. Either you do it or you keep getting the same shit. Those are your options. Steal your shit back or shut up. Those are your options.
Who had paid their ticket. Because with the Comoros, we have common interests. We have exchanges every day. What we hope is that in the dialogue that we are establishing with the Comoros, we will be able to resume these rotations quickly and have these rotations, we will say.
Well, he sound crazy as cat shit. They said they want his ass out. He's still talking about we're trying to come together and to try to help them, and we want to be partners. They told you they want your ass out. You got somebody in your house, they don't want to leave. We want you out the house. Time to go. And they keep telling you crazy shit.
It's crazy, man. And it is so sad to see, again, which leads us back to the conversation we have in part 5 of literally understanding why they behave how they behave. Makes sense. It all makes sense. But it is just so, it is so inhumane, It is just so inhumane of killing
Because they're not part of humanity. You keep thinking, we're about to talk about this now. But first I want you to play my music video. Play the video above the last one I sent you. Since I said I'm late. Sent that one first. I just gotta set the mood. The first one I sent you up in there. Over the one we're gonna start with. Send my music video. I need to pop some heads.
Okay.
It's the one that says Black History Month tribute. This is Black History Month. Yeah, Black History Month tribute. We're gonna play that one. Then we're gonna throw in some Jason Hill's Bobby Hemmett. If you know you're not dealing with a human being, you won't become us against humanity. You're not dealing with a human being. The Africans go wrong.
Black. Black, black, black.
The planet is black.
Black.
That's right.
Black on black, black. Yeah.
Black on black, black on black, black, toast, black, rap, black, that, black, this.
Black on black, my skin so black, I'm rocking that black on black, my thoughts so black.
All right, Joe, let's go into the last video I sent you.
Black, everything is black.
We're so black. Black.
Excuse me?
We need a longer month.
Black History Month, we need the whole year.
We need a longer
Black
month.
History
Bobby
Year.
and
How
Whitney
about
Houston.
Black History Year
Yeah.
for 1 year?
Yeah.
Out of every 2 years, we need 1 year. Black History Year.
All right.
Okay.
We didn't need to put them two crazy bastards at the end of the video. Guy, keep them two crazy bastards in the closet.
Always someone
You know,
crazy,
even though one is dead now. Okay, family, we're gonna do Bobby Hemmett. Now, Bobby Hemmett did a kind of led me down this rabbit hole. Anyway, so this is 2000. This is 25 years ago. Did this the first he did almost 35 years ago. Okay, we did Human Artificial, the first one I looked at, and so we're gonna tell Bobby Hemmett, tell you anthropological and archaeology. The Africans always knew that this thing, what Joby said, they're humanity, that you're not a human being, they don't have any humanity. And that's when the Moors went up to Spain to try to put black semen in this beast to make it a human being, to stop the demons from going into it. So we're gonna play the whole thing, but I'm gonna come in every now and then to give clarity what Bobby's saying. So go ahead, Joby.
He's going to talk to us about the making and the history of the white man. Brother Bobby, how you doing this evening?
How you doing?
Okay.
Everything's cool.
Okay. So what can you
The
tell
making
us
of the white man.
Maybe we may say that we already know, we don't know, that you can enlighten us on about the making of this white man.
Well, back in 1993, I did a tape called Human Artificial. and I did it in a lecture format. So I pretty much stuck to the main course of trying to explain the origin of the European based on historical documents. I put out this particular pamphlet a year later in 1994 called The Human Artificials, and it went around the country, and also it's called Kemetic and Ancient Documents of the Living Devil. And it was a real popular piece. I mean, people Xeroxed it till the graphics broke up. But what I was trying to do, this book was a consortium of different fragments from ancient and modern people dealing with the research of this European being created, or made, in so many words, based on genetic engineering. And so since 1994, I've gotten tons and tons of other research, so much until if I was to put it in a book, it would take up about two of these books. That's how much information. But we don't have that much time. The information we have covered before. But what I want to do is to give an update or revisit this particular material from 1994 and put some new research down. In the school of academia and Western education, but it's in basically a good structure for education or academia period is, in academia, you go by two types of systems, two types of ways of looking at things. Number one, if you want to get to the truth, the first thing you have is anthropological or archaeological evidence, or some type of scriptorial or some type of ancient fragments based on, that would also be archaeology, where we talk about papyruses and rare books and rare artifacts that would actually literally tell the story of what are you trying to look for. And this would actually be the basis of the truth. Now, you can have a theory, and a theory could be the basis on what you might say, give a synopsis of what you are trying to postulate when it comes to the origin of something, trying to get close to the meaning. And that theory can be viable, it can be substantial to a certain degree until archaeological and anthropological evidence comes into play. So now, dealing with the history of the European, we have several theories. Well, the white boy just decided he just don't want to deal with it at all. You know what I mean? He analyzes things down to the T. But somehow when it comes to the origin of his self, and when we ask this question, well, if the black man was the original person, which Mead tells you, Mendel, Mead, and different other people, and all types of archaeological finds, late 1800s, early 1900s, late 20th century, and we got to the bottom of this. And so, but people still don't want to deal with it. People still want to deal with it. Some people say, well, what difference does it make? Well, it makes all the difference in the world if you have a hybrid.
If you knew your ancient history, you would know that. You would have Joby saying, oh, why did you always do this? Why did you inhumane? Because you're fucking with a humanized animal. You're not fucking with a human being. That's why. When you looking at it, you've been told why they got power, they've hidden all this history. The rulers that run this world, they know goddamn well they're not a fucking human being. They know all this. You don't. And their behavior shows you that. Go ahead, Joby.
And if you have problems in the world as indigenous people, you could pretty much say that in your lifetime, you should never feel comfortable with a hybrid species that have shown you forms of inhumanity.
So are you saying this European, this Caucasian is a hybrid of sorts?
A hybrid. I don't want to say mutation, because mutation or mutant is a natural phenomenon in nature. It might be a 1/1,000,000th of a chance, but it's still natural. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, see,
it might be.
pause that, Joe. Pause it again. See, they keep trying to say they're mutated African. You don't mutate a whole fucking race. That's what we see out in them TikTok spaces. They talking about that. Oh, we're mutated African. The fuck you are. A mutation doesn't create a whole race of people. That's a lie. Because they know they're not the original. See, they used to lie to black people. They are the original people. Like Joe, all this white. Like Joe thought she's gonna turn white and become a white angel and all this old dumb shit. Motherfucker, African black, you're the original. You crazy? Everything is black. Go ahead, Joe.
Might be a freak where you have a mutation after so many thousands and thousands of cycles. You have a mutation in anything, but nevertheless, nature does mutate. You see what I'm saying? The earth does have forms of mutations. You see, they go on all the time. So we don't want to call him a mutant. We want to call him a hybrid. A hybrid is a deliberate genetic
creation,
concoction, or
concoction, creation,
experiment. You see, or a hybrid can be a mistake, but not a form of nature. Because most mutations in nature, although they are very rare, they don't occur to create a whole race of mutations.
You know, over the years in the conscious community, we've always referred to them as mutants.
Mm-hmm.
You're shedding a light on new science,
right?
The hybrid information.
Hybrid, which we're talking about mock. A mock is a copy of the original. It's a knockoff of the original. This is a knockoff Breitling of the original. You know, this is a $6,000 watch in its original state. $39 in Canal Street, Manhattan, New York. That's a knockoff watch. There's a difference. You see, there's a hybrid state, and we need to make this very clear. What we're talking about here is a immigrant human.
Right, an immigrant human is not supposed to be here. An immigrant human, but that's for all of them.
Migrates in.
Back up.
And as the Holy Kabbalah, A.E. Waite's Holy Kabbalah says, it is a how does he put it? An intruder. Mm-hmm. Something that is not there in the beginning that is intruding and perpetrating a fraud as a human.
A human being, exactly. Perpetrating. But it's not just them.
It was created
in secret, exactly. And watch and see. I had to go back over the skin and watch him bring up Tahuti. Tahuti is what? Thoth ass. I told you I knew I was getting to the right thing. Watch him bring up Tahuti, Thoth. And this is for you, brother, and Dallas. If you're listening, I know you're gonna be listening. Watch. He's gonna tell about Tahuti being a good. I told you Tahuti. He gonna talk about Tahuti talking about creating them in Atlantis, like I said. Okay, Thoth ass. So Thoth is not the good motherfucker we've been told to believe. Go ahead, Joey.
Outside of the general civilization of humanity, of ancient civilization of humanity.
Right.
When it did show up, people took it as another strain of a race.
All these other people showed up like, wait, hold on, what the fuck is going on? Like I told you, the Asian, white people, the East Indian, they just popped up. Like, whoa, who are these people? Right?
You see what I'm saying? Another strain of humanity, or what you would call a different aspect of humanity. All because its incubation period was secret. You see, was secret. And so when people saw it thousands of years later, they automatically just thought it was a form of humanity. And as a result, this has been the mistake of indigenous people around the world, because number one, our nature is that to accept.
Our nature is love.
Accept
everything.
Everything. Accept everything. We accept humanity.
Yep.
Now there's a difference. Give you an example of what we're talking about here. Because we'll get into the psychological aspect, but this is a good analysis right now. In the workplace, two kind of doggone creeds, two kind of natures. In the workplace, you walk past a black person, you know, you say, hey, how you doing? You feel that person. You walk past that person 2 hours later, you might greet them again. You walk past them another 2 hours later, you might greet them. You might greet them all day. But that's us. We go by what we feel, and we go by how we feel about people. The difference. We go by how we feel about humanity. Whereas a white boy come, he might greet you in the morning. You see him 2 hours later and you greet him again, he might think you crazy. You understand what I'm saying? Now the difference here is this species goes by how you make them feel. So you know the old saying, well, you know, I really like you, but you're not like the rest of your people. That is because they don't feel nothing for the rest of your people. They're only responding based on the way that you made them feel. You might have made them feel a certain way. It's like the movie Bingo Long and Traveling All Stars, which is a basic fundamental thing in all forms of entertainment in America. You know, they took to the road, they broke off from the Negro League. You know the movie, they took to the road, they said they're going to play white teams. They were beating the hell out of the white teams. The white teams was getting all mad, and they had to go in and start doing all kind of buck dance and clowning to kick their behinds. Because the European goes by the way you make him feel, not how he feels about you. There's a difference. You see what I'm saying? It's always, you can produce a certain way to make him feel. He will accept you based on the way you made him feel. But not necessarily accepting you just by being a human. So they can love a Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan has over and above made them feel a certain way based on his talent. But they don't necessarily like the race that Michael Jordan comes from. There is a difference. There's a difference. So we're just talking about two types of natures. Whereas we, the indigenous person around the world, he accepts you just because you're human. And that is the humane thing to do. So these crews that came in, this particular European that came in, we automatically accepted him because something in the way, something broke down where we didn't have full access on its creation because it was created by a renegade priesthood in secret. And that's what we need to get into tonight also too, and go into this particular science. So what we want to do is we want to go into several aspects of evidence to deal with this. Now, let's get with the evidence right offhand so we'll know, so we can document some of this stuff. Do you know that Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is an adaptation of the creation story of the white man? Here's a book called Tobias Curtin, The Gnostics. The Gnostics is an ancient Camite group of Egyptians during the Alexandrian age and during the latter day period of Kemet at the temple of Isis at Philae. You had Egyptian priests that translated ancient hieroglyphic documents from Metanetta into Coptic religion. This is a book called The Gnostics. The Gnostics is a black ancient group, which in actuality, this is the group that Paul, Josephus, and other writers of the, especially writers of the New Testament, copied the Gnostics' work.
Now remember, pause. Now remember, we had Joby go back and read the Gnostic text and doing about Yaldabaoth. See, this is before your Bible. This is where all your fake Bible shit came from, and they distorted it. These are the Gnostic texts come out of Africa. Okay, that's what Joby read about when she was talking about Sophia and y'all the broth, and so so this is what we're talking about. This the real shit, the shit they hidden. Go ahead, Joby.
Kemet, copied their works. And then when the Gnostics rebelled and said, hey, wait a minute, the Jesus that you're talking about here is not the Jesus that we worship, then the Roman government killed off the Gnostics and took their religion. You see the story. It's always a classic thing when somebody, you got two people doing something.
Exactly. When you get the Roman Catholic Church, they kill the Gnostics, but they kill the Gnostics and create the fake Christian religion. Gnostics say, hey, you can't be doing that. That's make-believe shit you talking. So you'll do it, we'll kill you, nigga. And they killed them. Go ahead, Joey.
Person off. Well, that's exactly what happened. Christianity is a stolen legacy that was killed off by an ancient group of people that was killed off called the Gnostics. The old, and basically, this is the origin of the New Testament. The key here with the Gnostics is they had a Christ long before the birth of the so-called Jesus Christ of 2,000 years ago, which basically was mythological aspect historicalized as a political move done by the Roman government. The Gnostics basically were a later-day Camite group that basically refashioned the same Horus myth. The difference between the Gnostics and the later-day Christians, or what you would call, which is the Roman invention, is the Gnostics said that, as well as the Gnostics, the Hebrews, the Arabs, the Sumerians, just any ancient group. Because there's a discrepancy with all this Sumerian stuff and Babylonian stuff, because in actuality, Walter Williams is right on this one. They talk about all these ancient cultures, but we can't go nowhere and find them.
That's right. The whole world was Kemet, guys. You had a worldwide civilization. The whole world was Kemet. All of it. China, America, the whole world was Kemet. Go ahead, Joby.
Kemet, yet we can't find up with some little clay tablets. we talk about a whole civilization we can't find. So obviously the white man is making up some stuff. But in so many words, these was nothing but doggone states of the same Egyptian government. So all of it was Kemet. All of it was Kemet. The difference is the ancient world said that the Messiah is to come in the last days. The Romans say, no, we're going to make it come 2,000 years ago. And that is the great mystery that's going on. Sublime mythology makes grotesque history. So we're looking at a person of 2,000 years ago. You understand what I'm saying? That the attributes of the divine Christ is supposed to come back in the last days, in the latter days, which is the god Horus, Mithra, Perseus, Jason, Hercules, Dionysus, Sheba, Krishna. You understand what I'm saying? Krishna, Bacchus, Ha-ur, Raheruka-Hootie, Quetzalcoatl, all this particular one was all the cultures talk about. They talk about the end time Mashiach or Messiah. The Romans made it a historical person of 2,000 years ago, and that is the difference. Now, dealing with this, the Gnostics, in this particular book, the Gnostics, Cliff Tobias actually quotes Mary Shelley. And Mary Shelley, in the book, Man the Monster, chapter 2 of Mary Shelley's novel Frankenstein, it was written when Blake was 59. Now, Blake is a philosopher. Also, William Blake is a philosopher. Also, when Blake was 59, and said, we were of the beginnings of Victor Frankenstein's quest to obtain powers of God. Victor confessed that during the trip to Fanon, a town near the French Alps, situated in the shores of Lake Lenon, and he goes into this thing where, as she's quoting what Victor Frankenstein is inspired of, what he is actually trying to attempt. And in her novel appears the word or the human Asclepius. And Asclepius
Imhotep.
Is Imhotep.
It's Imhotep, the African. Imhotep, the African. Well. The plot thickens. The plot thickens. When the greatest people that ever lived, Imhotep, the African super genius. Uh-oh. Go ahead, Joey.
And this is the same God that all physicians swear to with the Hippocratic Oath. Imhotep, which is also giving a remnant of an ancient Egyptian school, a mystery system that in actuality, Victor Frankenstein, although a fictional character, is basically a retelling of the same old story of a person that creates his own human. So we're talking about Mary Shelley here, understanding in these certain occult societies that was springing up all around Europe at the time. And these occult societies that was custodians of different works like your Rosicrucians, who literally had this particular information of the creation of the European left behind by the Moors in Europe at the University of Salamanca and 16 other universities in Europe.
Pause it. Okay. Now the Moors took this information into Europe. You got the University of Granada, Cordoba, Seville, Cadillac. So when the Africans go to dominate the Europeans and teach them, because they know the history. So Asclepius, who is Imhotep, was in the school of who? Thoth. Thoth again, goddammit. That mystery school, it's not a mystery school, a science school. White people call it the damn mystery. No mystery. He's in that school with Thoth because he's contemporary with Thoth as Hermes now. Imhotep talks about Hermes, who was Thoth, teaching his ass. Renegade priesthood. Imhotep was also a priest. And when you talk about Frankenstein, that's the creation story that they made into a fake movie and a fake book coming from Asclepius, Imhotep, Thoth. The making of shit. Yeah, all connects. Dots connect. I don't know if even Bobby Hemmett got all that. But I know all that. You still think Thoth is a good guy? Oh no. That priesthood was backed by Thoth ass. Tahuti. That's Tahuti punk ass. And he's gonna goes back to Atlantis when you read the Emerald Tablets about Thoth, he's in Atlantis, and people started conjuring up demons from the lower depths. And then they started doing like he told you again in Kemet, in Africa. He told you he moved to Kemet. It's the same nigga. It's Thoth. It's Tahuti punk ass. Go ahead, Joby.
In Europe, they had all of these particular texts. We'll go into some of these texts in a few minutes. But Mary Shelley mentions Asclepius or Imhotep, which is alluding to an ancient arcane school of knowledge. This is very key. This is very key. This is in the book, Cliff Tobias' book, page 133 of his book called The Gnostics, where he mentions that, and it's in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein book. We're just tying this thing in from the fictional as well as the actual evidence based on fact. Now, going back, isn't it amazing that outside of the fiction, or outside, of the theory, that the only hard-nosed evidence that we have is archaeological and anthropological, which in actuality, we don't have to theorize on this. We actually have the ancient people out of their own mouths.
Pause that, Joby. Pause that. So when the French, 200 years ago, when they started colonizing Africa again, those texts are still there in writing, on the tombs, on the stones, about this created Asian, created East Indian, and this created white man. It's there. So they know all this shit, but it was taken in before then. But when they go back into Kemet back in 1800 with Napoleon coming in, all that shit's still there, and it's in writing, it's in stone. That's how we got the term Tamahu. That's why we know today what the Tamahu is. Created white man. That was there. Okay? That was written. Because the Africans did that shit with those ass. Go ahead, Joby.
Given this particular information, we're going to go through some of this particular stuff. Now, the first thing we need to do, because we're talking about immigrant humans. a hybrid species. The first thing we need to do is I'll give a rendition of this on what actually went down. Now, in this book, Hermetica by Walter Scott, it's interesting that this book is not hard to find, but this book is being printed. It's just that if you go to the Rosicrucian Library out in California, they still sell this book. But all of a sudden, I noticed when I started really pumping this book, it became harder and harder to find. If you've noticed, a lot of times, certain books that I talked about, just mysteriously, it became harder and harder to find. And I'm not necessarily saying that in actuality that I'm ego tripping. Literally, people around the country, books that was plentiful until I started talking about them over and over again, this became harder and harder to find. But nevertheless, we have several texts. But this one I think is the one that is quintessential to what we're talking about here. Because in this particular book, on one of the pages, and Lord knows a book this thick with about 545 pages. To close the book and lose the damn page means you gotta labor, because the book doesn't have an index, because it's taken from ancient fragments, and somehow the book got closed on the doggone page. But I will quote it to you, because all I need to do is just show you the book. Walter Scott's Hermetica, where the Egyptians or the Kamites say that their biggest problem was to create another man. That's what the Egyptian says, documented in this particular book. That our biggest problem was to create another man. Right off the Hermetic text. And now, to explain something about the Hermetic text comes from is the Greek word for Tahuti. The wisdom of Tahuti is the oldest science and some of the oldest sciences in the world. That go all the way back, reach all the way back to Atlantis. I know that's scholastic suicide for most people of the collegiate world, but let's just understand that the Greek sage, that the Greek solid said that it was an Egyptian sage that talked about Atlantis. Now, Dr. Ben said that he did admit that this Greek sage, because I got the same text, talked about this Greek philosopher talked about how an Egyptian sage or a high priest told
Emerald tablets take you back to what? Atlantis. When those tells you, oh, Atlantis started conjuring up demons and shit.
him about Atlantis. He did admit that. But he just said we just don't have enough evidence on it. But there's tons of evidence on this particular information. It's just that it's found in ancient mythology. And we got to understand that mythology, which we've been duped on this one, mythology is truer than history, because mythology is mutu, divine sayings, or true sayings. Mythology is the way the ancients recorded their history. You see, their history. So there's tons of information on this land before the flood and the land after the flood, antediluvian land after the flood and before the flood. There's tons of information on this particular aspect. You got all of your Vedic texts and literally your Hermetic text. So the Hermetic text also says, quote something out of here. And so to the kinds of races of men, that of birds and all the beings of the universe contain and generate individuals of like form up to their kind. And then yet there are other living
So remember,
kinds of
hold on,
living
Joey, pause it for a second. Remember, guys, that the Hermetica is the old writings of Tahuti. which is Thoth. Those are all right. Hermes. Hermes Trismegistus is Tahuti. Tahuti is Thoth. His African name is Tahuti. So remember, that's Thoth. So he's reading out of Thoth's book that they recaptured, that they tried to hide. All this shit is still up in the Vatican that the Vatican stole and taken out of Africa. So the Moors, see, this is the African love. That's why I got a problem with Africans and Joby with all they love. We love too much. The Africans are going, they should just let these people fucking die out. But the Africans want to go put black genetics in them so this goddamn thing can continue to live. Because without black genetics, they die out because they are unnatural to the planet. They are a creation. Them, the age, that's why all their birth rates are fucked. They think it's just the society that they built. No, they were never going to be able to live here forever, for long, because they don't come directly from the creator of the universe. They were created by this renegade priesthood coming out of Kemet with those ads. First, they tried to do this shit in what we call Atlantis. But those don't tell you it's him. You say, oh, it's these other Atlanteans start doing this shit and it's bad and blah, blah, blah. And he goes to Kim and starts doing the same shit. He don't tell you why he's doing it, because Thoth is now losing power. Remember, they don't ever tell you, they just tell you Thoth was a scribe. Thoth wasn't just a scribe. I think somebody's white kid is missing. Hold on, shit, goddamn. All right, alert, somebody's white kid is missing. Hold on, Joby. I'm getting that buzz on my phone because somebody's white kid, I got an ambulance, somebody's white kid is missing in North Carolina. So Thoth, remember, so they go to Kim. They don't ever take, for 15,000 years, Thoth, Tahuti, is the king of Egypt. Well, Kemet, it's never called, like, shout out to Bobby, called it Kim what it is, the Kemetians. They never called Egypt till white people got it. Calling it Kemet, the land of the blacks. So he rules, he tells you he rules Kemet for 15,000 years. He don't tell you that they're throwing his ass out of there for doing all kind of fuck shit. They don't mention that part, that he's being dethroned. That's never in none of the writings. You know, that he's now being, because where he's going, everything starts to become sacrificial. He could keep it secret because Thoth is real smart and all these people coming back dumb. So he could keep a lot of the fuck he's doing, kidnapping children and feeding it to this goddamn, what we learn inside the Gnostic text, this Yaldabaoth thing, these archons who feed off human energy. And so Thoth has been found out. That's why I showed you when he builds the same shit over in Mexico. When Joby guys showed you Teotihuacan, named directly at Thoth. Tahuti Khan. That's what his name is. Tahuti. He becomes Quetzalcoatl in Mexico. In that area, Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, all them pyramids start popping up. And they start doing what? Practicing the same sacrifice shit over here. Because he's feeding those goddamn things that are disconnected, that Sophia created, away from true God. So they're disconnected from having true energy. And so he's making so this thing can feed off our energy. And so they're creating a whole other group of people to keep us fucked up, so we'll now be trapped in this system. That's the reason all these people now being created, so they can also invade Kemet again, take it over, because he was kicked, his ass was kicked out for doing what he's doing all these fucking experiments that are against God. All these creating people from dogs and cats and fish and all this crazy shit he's doing. Him and Enlil ass. So I'm sure he brought Enlil. We don't hear Enlil in this. But Enlil is part of the shit Jehovah Yahweh ass. They're both cooking up motherfucking different people going against the will of God, true God. Because I told you, that's why they're jealous. They're just like me and you. These are niggas. These are black people. Maybe in the fourth dimension, a little bit dimension, but they got the same fucked up problems me and you got. And they're wicked. So they're going against true God's nature and what he desired to build a perfect universe. So that's what you got going on right now, because they feeding that Ogu motherfucker, that dark energy, that lizard, that reptilian energy. They're feeding that thing. So that's what's going on. So he's reading from the Hermetica. That's why I told you Thoth is part of this. Because Thoth is the only one who know how to build these pyramids and make it all this knowledge he got from that dweller. And see, in the Emerald Tablet, they call him Ogu the dweller. And I learned from, remember he told you, he didn't say he learned from his daddy, fucking Ptah, who was Inky. He said Inky introduced him to the dweller in the Emerald Tablets. We were reading it last week. He said Inky, his daddy, introduced him to Ogo, the dweller. That's deep inside the earth. We know that's where he went. We know we read all the Dogon texts. That's where Ogu went, deep inside the earth. We know this from all the Gnostic and Dogon text. The African text tells us that. Took me a while to put it together. Who's this dweller motherfucker he's going to see? He's not saying I'm going to learn from my daddy. He said I'm going deep in the halls of Amenti, deep underground to the dweller. Who the fuck is that? Who the fuck is this dweller nigga? Who's that? That's Ogo, the demiurge, Yaldabaoth. That's who is teaching Thoth all this shit. Not his daddy Inky. Go ahead, Joby.
Which are the void of soul.
Well, they don't have soul. Yes. Exactly. They don't. Pause it, Joby. See, Yahweh and Thoth and these goofy motherfuckers, they can't make a soul. Only God, only the true creator can make a soul. We have souls. They can put energy, a low vibrational energy that still comes from God up in there, but they can't make a true soul. That's why these other people don't have souls. That's why their pineal gland is what? Calcified. It's calcified. The pineal gland is where your soul sits inside your body. The seat of the soul is the pineal gland. That's why all other races have what? Calcified. This shit don't work. That's why they're always wicked and do wicked shit. They have no connection back to true God. The African is God on this planet. We're connected directly to God. That's why we're not supposed to be worshiping shit. We don't worship a goddamn thing. The true creator don't want you worship it. Nothing you can give it. Nothing you can take away from it. It is everything. Talking about giving some God. That's Yahweh you worshiping, that goofy ass nigga. Talking about giving money and worshiping and he's jealous. I'm a jealous God. The creator doesn't know any jealousy. What is it? What could it be jealous of? Nothing. Go ahead, Joby.
So that they are gladdened by all that does them good and suffer the pain of all that impairs harm to them. Now, this is the point I want to get here. The kinds consist of all things are implanted in the soil and spring forth life, which from fix. I'm going to get right to the point right here. I'm going to get right to the point. Let's see if it's on this page, because this is most quintessential to what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to, let's see if it's on another page. I want to find the right page on this thing, because it says that there are another kind of living beings which are devoid of soul. So they say that these humans, these race of men, there are races of men that the Hermetic scripture says that are devoid of soul. Is it on? That are devoid of soul. And they say that there are men with souls and men devoid of soul. Now, what we're talking about here is scholarship of the highest quality. Because if the European boasts on his Western education, it is the Hermeticus Corpus, which is the basis
of European scholars
of Western thought.
Yep.
The Corpus Hermeticus, which is the wisdom of Tahuti, which is brought up by the Moors, which is also brought up later by later Europeans that got it from Latin.
Remember, Tahuti is Stoic.
And from Greek. And this stuff was wrestled out of the Library of Alexandria.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so we're talking about some of the oldest texts in the world. But in this particular book, Hermetica, it says that one of our greatest problems is, this is what the Egyptians are saying, that we created another man. Walter Scott's translation of Hermetica. What year is this book? Because some of us like the older text. the older text. Hermetica early works, 1800s. I think it was later than that. I think it was done in the 1930s. Walter Scott's work. But this is crucial information. Now, since the Egyptians say in their own words that they created another man, where do we get this from? And what happened?
Oh.
Well,
What
happened was, first of all, I want to read this particular part here. Coming out of ancient Kemet, documented Geromancy. We talked about this on the first Human Artificial.
Geromancy, Egypt, Geromancy guys in Egypt, light of the world. That's one white guy told the truth. That's why they wanted to kill him. That everything starts. Your knowledge, everything starts in Africa. So that's Geromancy. One white guy from British went to Africa, told everything you know from around the world comes from African people. The people you ate, people you got enslaved and fucked up now, they taught you everything. So it's Geromancy, Light of the World, Book 1, Book 2. Go ahead, Joby.
Exhibit B or whatever. The Egyptians identified themselves on the mountain of Rut. Now this is coming from the temple of Seti I at Biblium El Malouk. What? I need to go.
No.
Oh, blue cup. Oh, okay. No worry. Oh, okay. No worry. We don't have to be formal and stuff. People see a lot of our videos, you know.
Keep going, bro.
We don't have to be formal at all on my videos and stuff. You know, this ain't Channel 12. Anyway, the temple of Biblium El Malouk at the temple of Ramesses the Fifth, but it's Ramesses the First, Seti I, but also in Biblium El Malouk, Ramesses the Fifth, you have this stuff. Now this is very interesting here because we know that the first Holy Land that ever, the first Holy Land before there was ever any Israel was a Holy Land in ancient Kemet called Abydos.
Abydos.
And in Abydos, there's a temple called the Temple of Seti I, built by Ramesses II for his father that had just died, Ramesses the First, Seti I.
That was Seti I.
Ramesses II built this temple at Abydos at the first Holy Land when he was about 22 or something like that. It is one of the most beautiful preserved temples in Kemet, whereas the bas reliefs in the actual temple, other than the engravings in the other temples, was raised. So in actuality, you could feel it, and it was actually raised off of the wall. And it's done in some of the most beautiful paint, and it's one of the most beautiful temples preserved on the inside. And it's very interesting about this temple. They never showed this temple in Kemet, in Egypt.
They tore it down.
You never see this temple. It's one of the temples that they never show. They always show all the temple of Edfu, the temple of Luxor, the temple of Karnak,
that was the temple talking about making them. They tore it down. That was when the French went in there. That's the temple they tore down because it's right there to show how they made the white man, how they made the Asian man, how they made the East Indian. It's right there on those temple walls. You know it had nothing to do with those other motherfuckers who were there today because they didn't even know it was even there. It had nothing to do with them Arabs you see there today at all. They didn't even know the shit was there. They never when they took over Kemet, they never even was curious to find out, well, what's in this shit? What is all this stuff about? They just set their own fake civilization, not knowing none of the mysteries of Kemet at all. That's what's so crazy. They never decided to do any kind of archaeological digs or nothing because they didn't care about it. So that's why at that time, when the French go in there, and oh shit, you get what's the French archaeologist's name? He goes in there, damn, what's his name? John, whatever his name. I forgot his name. I'm having a brain fart. Anyway, he goes and starts reading all this shit, and they all fucked up in their head. But the Africans talking about how we made them, they were savages, and all this other shit. They go, oh shit, how the fuck we rule the world now? And this African used to have us as a slave, and we were savages, we were created. So that's when they later on start creating their fake what? Their fake evolutionary theory because they got the real records of them being created from chimps and dogs and all that shit. That's where you get your fake evolution shit to cover up the real thing about them being created. Go ahead, Joby.
Temple of Esna. You see what I'm saying? They always show these temples in most books. They don't usually show a lot of temples on TV, not unless they're trying to exploit something. Because to me, the temples are some of the greatest architecture in the world. You start building a pyramid, try building an Egyptian temple. But one temple that they never ever show, and that is the temple of Seti I at Abydos. I'm collecting Kamite or Egyptian artifacts and Egyptian pictures from the late 80s and the late 80s and the early 90s. And other than Dr. Ben's books, Abyssimbel to Giza, I don't find a lot of pictures of this temple. Now I find literally, other than Seti's book, which is a white woman who spent her whole life at the Temple of Seti I and in that area. And you can also get a documentary on her, and National Geographic did a thing called Egypt, the Eternal Quest. They did it in 1982. You still show it on PBS every now and then. But outside of that little thing with Seti, and outside of Dr. Ben's book, who just so happens to be a black man, you don't get no pictures of Seti I. Now, I got two pictures of Seti I, and it's very interesting. I get a picture and a painting, a real nice watercolor done in the late 1800s, when they first started traveling to Kemet. Late 1800s to mid 1800s. I get this beautiful
Champollion, that's name. Champollion, no, I thought that's name. Champollion finds those texts and says, God damn. Yeah, all those texts on the wall, African calling the white man a savage, saying what he is, how they created his ass and all that shit. Go ahead, Joby.
A quote that is one of the most preserved temples in Kemet, Egypt. I don't get any more pictures of this mysterious picture that I have in my library at home again. The next time I get a picture, is 1989, and the temple is completely torn apart and reassembled. And it looks nothing like the original temple in the 19th century painting. Even Seti I, Seti, by the time she said she gets there in the 1920s or the 1930s, this white woman, she said the temple was completely demolished. And she spends her whole life with him literally trying to put this temple back together.
Ain't nobody's demolished.
By
because the facts of all these people.
This temple is put back together, but it looks entirely different from the temple that I got in the 19th century drawing. And I get one picture, a color picture in 1989. It's an entirely different temple, and even the temple that Dr. Ben visits in the late 80s and in the early 90s is an entire different temple than the one from the late 1800s, or mid to late 1800s. That meant that there was something in that temple that they saw. And they saw it earlier because Champollion, who is supposed to be the author of, who's supposed to be the person that actually deciphered hieroglyphics, which is a lie. Come to find out, there's a black man, here he goes again, was a black man at the University of Chicago.
When the black man in Chicago knew it, he did know it at the University with the Rockefellers, who was lying about still all this. The language never left Africa. The Dogon still speak it, and you find also all over West Africa. Hieroglyphics never left Africa, guys. It was underground. It never left. It wasn't just, the guy from Chicago did know how to speak it because he's African, Black American, so it still be in his DNA sequence. But the language never, it went underground. It never left Africa. It was never there that hieroglyphs. Most Africans got stupid, but the language never left Africa. So when you see white people try to claim they're us comedians, they don't know nothing about that language, and we laugh in their face. That language never left Africa. It's all over Africa. Go ahead, Jay.
Knew it based on genetic observation, a genetic memory bank. And he was the one that translated the majority of that. As usual, there's another black man whose story never gets out, and Champollion gets the credit. But nevertheless, Champollion goes to Kemet right after hieroglyphics has been translated. He goes to Egypt, sets sail to Egypt, and he writes 16 letters back to Champollion the Elder, which is his oldest brother. And when he gets to the temple of Seti I, he is very upset in his letters about what he found about the origin of the race, the white race. And in this, they talk about this temple of Seti I, they talk about there's 4 races of men. These are the 4 races of men. The 4 races of men. This one down here is suggesting the Tamahu from ancient Egypt. The Tamahu, which is the white man. Now, this picture of the 4 races of men is found in a book, Ignatius Donnelly's book. One of the few people that actually printed the picture. Ignatius Donnelly's book, Atlantis, the Antediluvian World. Antediluvian World. This picture here I put under the bottom is found in Albert Churchward's book, Signs and Symbols of Primordial Man. But nevertheless, this is the actual pictures that is explained.
Pause the joke. Yeah, those pictures on the temple wall. But it was more than that. They had the Asian, they had the East Indian, all of them up there. But that's why they got all these diseases, guys. They created with all these different parts, and Tahuti them to know what the fuck they were doing. They just merged some shit together. That's why the European was full of diseases. You know, all this wicked shit they was doing. But go ahead, Joby.
By Gerald Massey, who is indicating what Champollion saw when he wrote back to his oldest brother, Champollion the Elder. And it says, the Egyptians identified themselves on the monuments as the Root, R-O-U-T. A pictorial representation is found at the tomb of Seti I, and there are 4 races of people arranged in the groups of 4 men each. Here is the picture of the 4 men. Red, yellow, black, and white. Well, we'll go into that. Of 4 men each. These are the Nashi, Nahsi, Nahsi, Negroes, the Hemu, men of a light brown hue, with blue eyes and hair in a bag, and the Tamahu, which are the fair Europeans, and the Root, who are the Egyptians, or the Root, who are the Egyptians. So your Nahsi, your Negroes, and your
not the Egyptians, the Root are the Africans. He goes against that. They're not there was no Egyptians. There was no Kemet. The Africans who came to create Kemet came from all over Africa. Southern Africa, West Africa, East Africa, those are the Africans, not no Egyptians or Kemetians. They didn't become Kemetians after they created Kemet. They came from all over Africa. Those are the Africans, are the Root race. Go ahead, Joe.
The Egyptians, this is the 4 races of men: the Hemu, the Tamahu, the Nahsi, and the Ruti. So we know that the Nahsi and the Root, or the Ruti, are the ancient types, East African, West African. These are the typical groups, are not meant merely for counter races, as may be gathered from significance of their names. The Tamahu are the white, light-complected people. In the Egyptian word, Tama means people and created, who are the created white, light, and ivy. So Tama means people and created. Who means, white, light, and ivy. The Tamahu means the created white people. Well, who created them? The Nam is black ink. The Net is blackbird. The Shu is a person of birth, which means the original birth of the original people. The Nashim it was one black born, or the Egyptian phrase, the black egg from the egg, Shu. You see, from the egg, Shu. So, In so many words, the Ruti and the Nashi, or the Nasi, are the original races. Goes on to say that the Ruti and the Nasi created the Himu and the Tamahu. So the Himu would be a brother look like me.
So they said in the African, yeah, he just said this is the African period. The Ruti and the Nati are the same people. They're the African. They said the African, along with the Houthi, created the East Indian, the Asian, and the Caucasian. That's what it's saying, and that's what it said on those damn documents that they burned down the stove. The Vatican got them, and that's what it said on those temples that they tore the fuck down. But go ahead, Joe.
You see, light complected, light brown complected. Sheikh Anta Diop, in his book African Origins of Civilization, Myth and Reality, gives the entire story of the Tamahu in his book. He omits the section of the Tamahu found in the temple of Seti I.
Because he's married to a white woman. You can't tell that truth.
In Jeremiah's Book of the Beginnings, Volume 1, page 27, he puts the page back, or in actuality, the page can't be found because Jeremiah is before Diop. The page can't be found. But he omits this particular part of the Tamahu in his particular book, African Origins of Civilization, Myth, and Reality. But you get the whole story of the Tamahu and Champollion and what he found and his disappointment and all of that. But in Jeremiah's book, Book of the Beginnings, Book of the Beginnings, Volume 1, Volume 27, you actually get that particular page. You get that particular page. Now, going back, we have a link of the Egyptians apparently creating this race of people. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it in the Theology of Time that the Egyptians created the white man. Well, in Hermetica, they say that our biggest problem is we created another race of people. In the Hermetic text, Kamite text.
Not just one race, the rest of the races.
Going back, let's try to trace this story on when did it happen. First of all, we understand that there was no such thing as Egypt. That's the Greek name. The name was Cam, just like another ancient name of Ethiopia was Cush, Punt. These particular names, Cam, Cush, Punt.
Kemet, exactly. Cam meant black.
Meant they were describing certain areas and certain people. So the word Cam, the word Cush, all that means black. The key here is that the origin of Kemet goes back further than the 3,000 years. Well,
exactly. It goes back at least 50, 60,000 years ago. You got Thoth talking about he left Atlantis 50,000 years ago and came across the people of Kim. So we know it goes back at least 50. See, 3,000 years for them, that's when they are creating, come into existence. Not us. That's their ass. Not us. So that's why they got their fake Bible at 6,000 years of crazy shit. That's when these other races are created. So they try to move the timeline up for them. We go back way ancient. That's why we know about the 25,000 year cycle of time. We had to be here to map. We had to be at least 25,000 years to map the cycle. We could have been in those 6,000 years, known the 25,000 year great year, the cycle of time, the Yuga cycle. We had to be here longer than 25,000 years just to map the shit. That's their ass. Like I told you, just showed up 2 damn days ago. And that's a fact. Jack, go ahead, Joe.
8,000 to 10,000 years. But if we want to go back, we know that the Sphinx is carbon dated to 90,000 years. We know that the pyramids is just as old, as just that they had white limestone casings on them, which the Arabs, when they invaded, they
The
used
dumbass Arab took it down. Yeah, the dumbass Arabs didn't know shit. They were illiterate and fucked up. When they invaded Kemet in the 7th century, they took all the limestone off the pyramids to build Cairo with their dumbasses. But it has nothing to do with these motherfuckers. Nothing. That's why when Champollion and went in to Kemet in late 1700s, the Arabs didn't know a goddamn thing about Kemet, about the civilization. And they still don't know shit today. They curate it, but don't know none of it. Go ahead, Joby. And try to claim it.
From the
motherfucker, you didn't even exist.
The 3 great pyramids. The point is that these things are very old and way older than 3,000 years ago. You see what I'm saying? They're older than Khufu. Now, in your book, and then one thing I can say about the scholarship of Zecharia Sitchin is we know that he has his angle because he's trying to write something for the European Jews, but still yet they have the money, they have the research to finance things. He can get several archaeological things that most people can't get. And yes, in his book Stairway to Heaven, he goes into the science in the back of the book on forging the pyramids.
Yeah, it's always the Jays trying to do some shit.
That the pharaohs in Kemet would
He's going all the way back.
And they would forge earlier temples, edifices, and buildings. You would, like Ramesses, take for instance, forged his name on the temple of Luxor and covered up stuff from Tutankhamun. You see, so we know that they were always, when they would do repairs on something, a lot of times
big head niggas in John back then.
They would get attributed to building the work. They said that Khufu did repairs on the pyramids. You see what I'm saying? Repairs on the pyramids. These things are way older than what we can suspect. So, given the age of the Egyptians, now Blavatsky's book said that the Egyptian priests would never tell the origin of what they were. They were just toying with the Greeks. In so many words, the knowledge that we get on the whole 3,000 years of ancient Kemet from Manetho's book Socrates is just that Manetho was toying with them and said, well, the Greeks are so interested in chronology, just give them a synopsis. So the little 3,000 years, a little 10,000 years is some stuff that he gave them, which there's all kind of discrepancies in right now. When they have all kind of conferences and saying this stuff, a lot of this stuff don't hold up. So they gave them the 500 pharaohs of the 300 pharaohs of the dynastic and the 500 pharaohs of the pre-dynastic, just to shut the damn Greeks up. But they said that even Blavatsky's book said that they would never tell the origin. You don't never tell a person your origin because a person can dictate how to control you based on how old you are. They would know exactly what to deal with. The Egyptians and the Camites, that was very secret, and they would never give the origin of that. And on one, they didn't deal with time the way we dealt with time. You see what I'm saying? Now, even in the book, in Jeremiah's book, Natural Genesis, also quoted with Blavatsky's book, Secrets Doctrine, they say that the Egyptians plotted the stars for 40,000 years and didn't tell no damn body. Plotted the damn celestial universe for 40,000 years. They said that they have a 25-year cycle.
Exactly. That's right. The 25,000 years. I ain't even going to say the 25 because I ain't listened to the whole thing yet. The 25,000 year cycle of time is called the Great Year. We know things rise, things fall. We get smart, we get dumb. We get smart, we get dumb. We had to be here over 25,000 years to map the first one. And we went back hundreds of thousands of years before that because we knew all the cycles of time. We knew all this shit. We knew what the cycles of time were and what age, the cycles of ages. We knew all that. So, yeah, the African is ancient. We're the only ancient motherfuckers, period. See, that's why they need to keep you from your real history, but it ain't make no difference. The downloads are starting to come. True God is saying, time to wake up, nigga. Go ahead, Joby.
The 25,000 year cycle of the world's great year. Said the damn Egyptians went through 8 of them. You see what I'm saying? So we're talking about, just like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, there ain't no birth records, there is no time. This stuff goes on and for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Now, the document that they found in the British Museum, very old, it was an Arabic document. They couldn't even find the regular Arab, the regular Arab-speaking people. They couldn't even find it. They had to go.
They had to be black because these fake white people cause that. These fake white people are not Arab. Arabs is an African culture. See, these other people came on the scene late and hijack your culture and cosplay us. They cosplay you. You know, they cosplay you. The original goddamn Arabs are black. So they couldn't read no ancient, it wasn't Arabic, it was whatever ancient language. Arabic is a new language. Whatever ancient language the Africans spoke then. Ain't no white Arab, no none of that. They wasn't around. You gotta find somebody black, somewhere in Kenya, somewhere in fucking goddamn Tanzania to read that shit. Go ahead, Joby.
Translate these particular documents that was left behind by the Moors. And when they translate, they had to get a black family in Arabia. One of those black families that's left behind. You know, you go to Arabia and it's 85% black. They had a conference at the Arabian expedition. They had a conference. They had an expedition or an exhibit of ancient Arabia or Arabia in 1989 that I went to in Atlanta, Georgia. And I was like, wait a minute, is this Arabia? Because I thought it was Africa. It was blue black people all over Arabia. So they had to go and get one of those particular people with a dialect to translate this particular fragment that was left behind in the British Museum. And when they translated, they found out that the chronology went 2 billion years. And we're not talking about 2 billion men or some ape man. We're talking about 2 billion years of advanced high beings.
Of African people.
Exactly what the dog mythology talks about. So we're like, man, we don't even have anything that can even calculate that. The only thing we even had to come close to that was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad saying that the black man was 66 trillion years old, which is a symbolic number we don't know. And it's no different than what the doggone mythology talks about as millions of years. Even in this book, the Nag Hammadi Library, dug up in 1945, translated by James Robinson, in this particular book, where you have a mythology that will span in 2 pages 10 million years. In 2 pages.
The Nag Hammadi, guys, is really a Gnostic text. The Nag Hammadi text is really your Gnostic text, guys. They found it because they tried, remember, they hid that in Africa because the Romans were killing everybody who knew the truth. So they were killing all the Gnostics. Right, so they hid that. So they found this buried in Africa, right in northern Sudan, right? Because they was killing all the Africans and shit who didn't go along with the fake Christian shit being created. So they buried all these texts so they couldn't burn these motherfuckers up or steal them, hide them. So they found them back in 1947 in the deserts of Sudan. Go ahead, Joby.
This stuff is very old. This stuff is very old. Remember now, the white boys got to push the timeline up to 6,000 years.
Exactly,
that is the
to
time
him.
that he comes into play.
That's right.
So this is a form of psychological mind control. If you give the world only 6,000 years, he can justify, or he can tell you that he's always been here. That's what black people say now. Well, we gotta live with him. Not that they only been here a few days ago. Now, going back, the Egyptian priests that we talk about in Kemet, we're talking about literally thousands of years ago. Now, this puts this thing back to Atlantis, these play on words. Whether you call it Egyptian, Cam, Kush, Atlantis, Lemuria, all that stuff. Alchemor, there's several names for the planet Earth. Or there's several names for the planet Earth. You see what I'm saying? Time Mary, we got this big debate going on. For a play on words, really say a long ass time ago. In this case, we'll pick Atlantis. Because we got tons of information on this in the Vedic text, Gnostic texts, several texts. Hesed's Theogony, the Enuma Elish coming out of so-called Babylonia. We got tons of this stuff. The Gilgamesh epics, there's tons of this stuff and it's in mythology. Now, going into this particular stuff, what happened? What happened? Let me give you two synopses on this thing. The Rosicrucians, which is a European Masonic group, is some of the custodians of the ancient documents of the making of the white man brought into Europe by the Moors when the Moors ruled for 700 years and set up 16 universities. The Rosicrucians become the custodians of all these ancient texts. And several other occult groups become custodians of several ancient texts. So what we call a quote-unquote Yakub story, the Rosicrucians had one. As a matter of fact, one of the Rosicrucians told me back in 1992 that the white man is an experiment gone bad. He said, but the UFOs is coming to take care of this mess. That was his rendition of it. Anyway, we talk about a divine power.
And that's why the UFOs are running around here. That's right.
Also said that the only place where you can find the granite from the capstone of the Great Pyramid is only in one place, Stone Mountain, Georgia. So whether you choose to believe it or not, these people hold on to all kinds of secrets. And to this day, we talk about we live in an integrated society. Try getting up in them white lodges. See what I'm saying? That's why we shouldn't let white people up in our events. Because they have meetings on us every day discussing our faith. And you are not invited. You can't get up in a doggone legitimate white lodge. All this great land of immigration and freedom, go and get in a white lodge. Because the white lodge is the only doggone educational system in America. And they are not going to let you be educated. Outside of the new research of this black stuff that I'm putting together and other scholars, the only educational system in America where you get a complete education of the universe, the world, and how the world works, the origin of man and the whole gauntlet of stuff, is the doggone white lodges. And they ain't gonna they might integrate a few little tuxedo wearing niggas on the ground level, but we're talking about the people that run this world. Don't you let somebody fool yourself. You can't get up in there and you're not invited to the table. That's why we shouldn't invite white people. You see what I'm saying? In our forums. Because you can't go to the meetings that they make decisions on your everyday life.
So are you saying that the Black Masonic Lodges are just a club or something?
The Black Masonic Lodge is no different than the AKAs, the Deltas. You know what I'm saying? Pi Bacon Club, Zeta Phi Beta, Sigma Gamma Rho. You know what I'm saying? All that is a social club, drinking liquor and driving cab. You know, it has nothing to do with real ancient Egyptian mystery system whatsoever. As a matter of fact, most black Masons didn't even know what the fuck Kemet was. You know what I'm saying? They're thinking that 33 years is the 33 years of Jesus Christ. Well, wait a minute. Hell, Jesus Christ wasn't even on the planet when this shit was put down. You know what I'm saying? And singing Negro spirituals and stuff like that. That has nothing to do with real ancient knowledge. Ancient knowledge is an educational system, nothing short of the educational system that Negroes go to and call themselves educated. That is an inferior education compared to the original mystery system. This is a lifelong study. You understand what I'm saying? So, no, the Black Lodge is nothing but a joke. It's a pathetic joke. I will say the goals and the objective of the Black Lodge in its inception was honorable with Prince Hall, what I think he was trying to put forth. But we talking about the Black Hall, the Black Lodge we've had for most of the 20th century ain't nothing but a doggone Stymie and Our Gang, Little Rascals Club and shit, you know, with a little dog with a circle around his eye and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Or the Honeycomb Hideout Club and stuff. You know what I'm saying? The Secret Handshake and all this kind of thing here. Or the Peanuts Gang. You know, some Charlie Brown shit. You know, and some Lucy and the dog that sleep on top of the doggone dog house and shit like that. It has nothing to do with real ancient mystery system at all. A 33rd degree Mason or whatever and stuff like that is almost a person in kindergarten, even compared to a brother like me. You know, I have to just to sit down and do this particular lecture on. I got to come with basic tools. You see what I'm saying? We're talking about real comprehensive scholarship here. Now, going into this particular science, the Rosicrucians tell us of two stories. One story is found in Rudolf Steiner, head Rosicrucian, Rudolf Steiner's book, Atlantis in Memoria, which is hard to get. You can find all of Rudolf Steiner's book, but you can't find that particular book. One of his other books, good books, is Cosmic Memory and Universe, Earth, and Man. Excellent books. And in that particular one, Atlantis in Memoria, they talk about a god of Manu, or this particular scientist named Manu, that took a germ from man and made another race of men. It also goes and talk about the moon separating from the earth. Same stuff that the Message to the Black Man talked about that people scorn and say is posh, and ludicrous. Rudolf Steiner's Rosicrucian talks about the same thing of the making of the white man. Rudolf Steiner's contemporary at that time is H.G. Wells, who writes the fictional adaptation, The Island of Dr. Moreau. You just need to get that movie.
Pause it, Joby. Pause it. Now remember, H.G. Wells is British intelligence Illuminati. H.G. Wells is British intelligence, guys. Right? He's going to start writing about the fake Jesus, the Serapis shit years ago. H.G. Wells is British MI6, British CIA. So they know all this shit. That's what H.G. Wells is. That's known now. That H.G. Wells was part of MI6, running around Africa, keeping Africans all fucked up. That's H.G. Wells. And a couple of his movies have been in Hollywood from his books. H.G. Wells was MI6. So I'm letting you know, they know all this shit that we're talking about. Go ahead, Joby. We're about to wrap it up in a minute until we get out of here.
To give you a synopsis on what's going on. But his is closer to the truth. Because in this particular science, now we have those particular documents and we have other stuff, but in this particular information, because we do have the Hermetic text where the Egyptians say our problems, we made another race of people. We got about balls with scholarship here. We can go on and on and on, and we will. But in this, let's go into a synopsis. We're talking about thousands of years ago, so the best thing I can do to paint this picture is to give you a synopsis that is done by the ancient art of channeling. In this case, my ex-mate Ginger McFarland channeled closer to the truth on what actually happened, which later on I verified in these particular scriptures also too, in these particular books. And in so many words, let's just give a name to this thing. Let's give a name to this particular character. We'll just say Yakub. We do have him in Donald B. Redford's book, Egypt, Canaan, and Israel as a real person. A so-called quote-unquote Hyksos god. Now, we know that the Hyksos is nothing but the pre-dynastic Egyptians. So let's say a pre-dynastic Egyptian
No. He's going to pause that. Pause it. The Hyksos are not the pre-dynastics. That's what Bobby's all fucked up and wrong. The pre-dynastic are the created white people. That's the ones that created white those to come back and invade Kemet. See? Bobby thought those were other Africans that came back, and no, they are not. That's why they say they were lepers and unclean. Those Africans are not lepers and unclean back then. They ruled the fucking world. The lepers are unclean people, white people. Those were created white people, created by those, and that renegade what? Egyptian priesthood. Under who? Osiris. Remember, I go back to Osiris, who becomes Moses? The priesthood of Osiris was what? A priest. So that's Tahuti ass, those. with Imhotep and them creating this cracker, and then coming back invading Kemet with these lepers and unclean motherfuckers. Not the other Africans. That's who this is. This is when white people first come on the scene. That's who they are. Go ahead, Joby.
Egyptian person that they end up worshiping. We also have it in
and they start and they start set up Set worshiping.
Fictional worship.
Yeah, the worship of Set. Set is what? The demiurge. This is when you start, this before you get to creating other goofy Bible and all that shit of worshiping this wicked ass Jehovah nigga. This is Set. So they come and start worshiping the god Set, who's what? Set is the demiurge. It's Ogo. And the Africans are like, what the fuck are you doing? Those are the white people. Before Christianity, they were worshiping Set. Go ahead, Joby.
A woman by the name of Lynn Carter's book on the mystical whereabouts or the mystical experiences of Ya'akub, which is also defined as Jacob in the Hebrew text. But let's just take that word for right now. Just for the sake of argument, we'll just, whether you believe that, we'll talk about a fictional character. Well, I'll add a little more light to it, so it'll bring it into faith. Bring this thing into focus. Excuse me. In ancient Atlantis, or the ancient schools of ancient Kemet, mainly in the Hermetic schools, are the wisdom of Tahuti, or the schools of Tahuti, which later was identified as the city of On in Heliopolis, Kemet, and which also is connected with Imhotep, the first physician or doctor and the father of medicine, which is also connected with King Zoser, who commissioned Imhotep to build the first pyramid of Kemet, the Step Pyramid in Kemet. So we got a connection and a tradition going on of the Temple of the Wisdom of Tahuti. To get some more information on the Wisdom of Tahuti and this particular school, get Graham Hancock's book, The Sign and the Seal. Because even your whole science of the Ark of the Covenant and how to make this particular chest of Osiris comes out of Graham Hancock's book. But anyway, this school of Tahuti, the Wisdom of Tahuti, which is a picture here of the god Tahuti. Another book that just recently came out called The Way of Hermes. The Way of Hermes.
Pause it. I want to make sure you understand that.
Is the Greek word for Tahuti.
But yeah, Hermes is the Greek word for Tahuti, and Thoth is the Atlantis word for Tahuti. Tahuti is the African word. Tahuti is Thoth. Thoth is Hermes. Hermes, Tahuti, and Thoth are the same people. So we know, make sure we get that clear. He's telling you right. Tahuti is Hermes. When he's reading the Hermetica, that's Tahuti. That's Thoth. So still, all this shit keeps going back to who? Thoth's ass. Tahuti is Thoth. But go ahead, Joker.
Yeah, as it gets closer to winding up, the rest
Yeah. Wrap it up. Just see if you can read some people's comments. And we got some questions before we go. We'll finish the rest of this Friday.
Is another word, but Tahuti is the Egyptian word. And it says new translations of the Corpus Hermeticum and the definitions of Hermes Trismegistus to Asclepius. Here's that word again, which is Imhotep. This book here is by Clement Solomon, Doreen Van Oyen, William D. Wharton, and Jean Pierre May. The book called, put out by Inner Traditions, Rochester, Vermont, The Way of Hermes, which is nothing but some more than Hermetic text. This is just an updated version of this. This is one of the last ones to come out. I think it came out. I think it came out in '99. So this is one of the last ones that came out of the Hermetica. There's a new Hermetica that came out in '99. also, 98, also, late 98, 99, it's called another book called Hermetica. And there's also another book called Hermetica by Copenhagen, which is a real scholarly breakdown of these earlier scriptures by Walter Scott, Copenhagen's book, Hermetica. So there's 3 Hermeticas out, and The Way of Hermes, which is one of the last ones to come out on this particular stuff, put out by Inner Tradition, which is an esoteric book company. Now, this priesthood that stretches back to Atlantis apparently was schooled in the ancient art of alchemy.
Alchemy, which they call today quantum. Quantum understand that everything is an illusion. So they took our science and they call it quantum because the white man now learns it. It's called alchemy. How to take things from the ether and create things from nothing. Go ahead, Joby.
Yeah, we're gonna stop there. I'm gonna go through the comments and then we'll finish the rest on Friday.
Yeah, we do it Friday.
Yeah, we are. The rest is also an hour remaining, so we'll finish the rest of the video on Friday. Let me go through the comments very quickly, as much as I can, as we wind up. I see a lot of people in the building: Big Cheese, Jiba Jaba, Emil, Karibuni Sana, 10 Speed, John Mosquito, Jason, and to I might not have mentioned. I see Emil earlier was saying that. Okay, let me start from where? Let me see here. Jiba Jaba was saying that he was taught they moved from north to cold lands and that turned white. I think I've heard that.
That's what they told all of us. That's stupid. That's what they still. That's the still thing. See, that's the evolutionary thing that black people came from monkeys and they left Africa, went to Europe, became cold. Now they become Chinese people, then the East Indians too. Then how'd that happen? So see, the African became all these different people. Became an Asian, became an East Indian, became a Caucasian. Because it got cold. Then why the biology is completely different? You know, that's a lie. But that's what they teach in all schools today. That's the still lie. But go ahead, Joe.
Emil said that that's probably what was written on the emerald tablets of Thoth, how these beings were created. And that's probably what they're hiding in the Vatican. Also,
that's the last one. Remember, Thoth said he can't. That's the ones we don't got yet. Because remember, that's on the few emerald tablets on the first few ones. Somebody's hiding the other ones. Thoth said you're not allowed to release it because he said the human beings are not allowed to, won't be able to take what's happened. So it probably is on the rest of those tablets, the creation of all this shit. They won't be able, he said you're not allowed to release it because they wouldn't be able to handle none of this truth. Go ahead.
He also says that they also took the book of Enoch off the Bible because of it's deeply explained where those whites and Asians come from.
Yeah, Enoch. That's right. Remember, Enoch was part of the Bible. They took it out. Enoch is stole too. Remember when they were making the fake Bible, they took that out. Yeah, Enoch talks about all this shit too. The book, but I think it's still in the Ethiopian Bible. You can go to you get the Ethiopian Bible. Enoch is still in there, but they took all this shit because all the Bible is just the mixture of all the real shit that happened before. But they lies of it make Yahweh, this fake God, be the real God and all this crazy shit. Go ahead, Joe.
I also see Jiba Jaba says that explains the pyramids of the ley lines connecting these worldwide structures. I also see John Mosquito.
They're all on power ley lines. The ley lines is how they were bringing it, how you can open up portals and bring in these demons. Yeah, if you look at every pyramid, they're on energetic ley lines. All the pyramids are all connected. So you know that's not an accident. You know one person did all this shit. Because they're all connected. From China to Africa to America to damn South America. They're all connected. Go ahead, Joby.
Jason says, especially white people that have that total emptiness within them. The rich, poor, and super rich. Okay. Also see,
when Joby put up that video, that girl said, "I got no internal thing in my head." Those motherfuckers right there. That's a created entity. When Joby put up that video, that white girl said, "I don't have an internal thought pattern because shit is just because nothing's there but a hollow shell." Go ahead, Joe.
Emil says something interesting in Central and South America and Kemet that have pyramids. Jaguar and ibises used to live near those structures and were also revered by ancient Kemet. Also, Jiba says probably look at least 3 cycles before we got interested to track the correction. I also see Jason says especially that for that 40-foot stone. I think it's called the Bath Stone, 200,000 tons plus alone. My mother had dreams hiding under it with other women hiding from you. Catch. And let me see another one. I see Martin find the building. Says, where do Latinos come from? Question. Are they from the ether like blacks?
Hell no.
I also see.
Nope. Nope, you're not from the ether. Sorry. No. Everybody non-African is created. That's why you got that straight hair. You got animal hair. All that stuff on. When you got straight hair, that's fur on top of your head. Do you come from the ether? No. Oh, what kind of Latino? You mean a black Latino? You African? Stop with that Latino shit. Are you African? Are you African? I'm African. I'm Afro-Latin. We don't say we Afro-English because we speak English. We're just African. We're African. So are you an African who speaks Spanish? Because that just means you was a slave dropped off in Brazil or Colombia or Venezuela. But if you're a damn white Latino, no. You don't come from no ether. You come from a goddamn experiment. Shit. And Joby, since Joby did the video, blame Joby for cooking your ass up. That's why she knows the knowledge. Whenever knowledge comes back to you, you was involved in some shit.
Susie Jibajaba says they told us Chinese evolved slit eyes from years of living in flat.
living in who?
They told us Chinese evolved slit eyes from years of living in flat terrain, experiencing sandstorms.
I ain't even heard that kind of craziness. Okay. No. They were created because they got a snub-nosed monkey is the Chinese. You can pull it up. We'll pull up Friday. I'll show you where they came from. They come from no terrain and none of that crazy shit.
Yep, but here we're coming to the end of today's conversation. It's been the part 5.
Do Latinos come from the ether? Nah, you come from the ether of an experiment. If you're a white Latino, if you are African, because if you're not an Afro-Latino, okay, you're Afro-Latino, yeah, you come from the ether. If you're anything but an Afro-Latino, no, you don't come from the ether. Sorry.
Yeah.
Much love, guys.
I don't know if you're joining or if you've been there, but we're coming to the end of today's conversation. So much love to those who have missed this. Of course, catch it on a replay and enjoy. Leave your comments behind. See you guys on Friday, same time, same place. But tomorrow is the Culture Show on the network. Pull up your throwback.
Tell your throwback hits that Joby ain't gonna play, and she can throw back to when she was creating these crackers in these damn pyramids. Joby's like, I'm creating these crackers, yeah.
Kitty's big tapping.
Hey, Joby, check your other phone. I sent you a video. Remember you was talking about the delectable Negro.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it.
It popped up on my feed and said what you said. Hey, you honky. She called him a honky.
Yeah, I've seen it. I responded.
Okay, I gotta look at it. I said, this thing popped up. Reverend Joby talked about this damn thing.
Yeah, she's like, this is for the honkies. This is for the Negro.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But yeah, much love, family. See you guys tomorrow.
Much love, family. Peace. None of your fake